Hey guys, I'm the 50s Kid. In this video, we're going to be talking about torque sticks. Do they work? Can you trust them? We're going to be putting them to the test. So let's get started. So this is a set of torque sticks that I bought from Harbor Freight a couple years ago, and it's actually held up pretty well. In case you don't know what a torque stick is, it's designed to be used with either a 1/2-inch pneumatic impact or a 1/2-inch electric impact, and it's designed to be used when you're torquing on wheel lug nuts. It will torque that wheel lug nut to a specific calibrated torque and nothing more. Now, of course, when I bought this set, I went ahead and tested them with my torque wrench after I used them to make sure they were accurate, and I have found that they are accurate. They do what they are advertised to do. But the reason I wanted to make this video is because a viewer of mine has actually made 2 videos. His name is the Mechanic. He's made 2 videos on whether torque sticks work. I'm going to link them in the description because they're interesting videos. It is a very interesting topic that he brings up. He got varying results when he was using his torque sticks. And I've done some testing, and I think I've figured out what's going on. And I think it's really interesting. So it inspired me to sort of make this video. I figured, you know, let's go ahead and test these. I'm going to show you how I use them, how I've tested them in the past to make sure they work, and then I'll get into why I believe he was actually having problems getting his torque sticks to work. So I'm going to loosen these 2 top lug nuts. Now I will use the torque stick with the 1/2-inch pneumatic gun. This is Milwaukee's new 2767 1/2-inch impact gun. It's got about 1,000 foot-pounds. Now, when you use it, you can hear the sound change right when you get it to the right torque. And if you're looking at the socket, you can see the socket stop right at a specific point. If you just keep on going, you basically cannot see things getting any tighter. I'm going to get you some close-in shots on this in a couple seconds, but let me show you what it looks like with the 1/2-inch pneumatic gun. Now, on both of these, when you use it on both of these, you can clearly see that socket stop. It stops in a specific place. Okay, so I've gone ahead and drawn some lines on my socket. Hopefully you'll be able to see exactly when it stops. You can see I can keep going. It doesn't want to keep going. The socket doesn't want to move any further than that. So let's do this one with the pneumatic. You can see that's as far as it goes. Okay, I've got similar lines drawn on this socket that I'm going to use on my torque wrench. So I've got my torque wrench set to 90 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and test these, see if they move at all. That one didn't move, and that one didn't move. Now what I want to do is bump this up 5 foot-pounds. So now we're set to 95 foot-pounds. But before I continue on with this test, I actually want to loosen these lug nuts and re-torque them with the torque stick, because believe it or not, that little clicking action from my torque wrench is going to have caused these bolts to tighten ever so slightly more, and I think that's going to throw off the results of our test. So I'm just going to redo the torquing. So now that we're at 95, let's check this out. Let's see if the torque wrench moves. Okay, it didn't move there. I felt it move ever so very slightly. It was so very slight, okay? Now I'm gonna bump the torque wrench up to 100 foot-pounds for the next test, and then we're gonna redo the torquing the same way. So now at 100 foot-pounds, let's see what happens. You saw that socket move. Over here, you saw that socket move as well. I felt it. I think you guys saw that. So as you can see, this thing gets it to within, or this torque stick anyway, gets it to within 90 to 95 foot-pounds. Doesn't go to 100 foot-pounds. And that's what I've found when I've done this test. I've found those results consistently. Now, in the Mechanic's video, he was using the 2861. This is Milwaukee's mid-torque impact gun to do all of his tightening with his torque sticks. And I believe this is where the problem lies, at least with his testing. This is really interesting. Check this out. Same torque sticks. I'm using all of these guns on full blast, by the way, which is how you're supposed to use them. I don't care what any instructions say about calibrating torque sticks to your particular electric impact gun. I haven't found that to be the case. So I've already loosened these again. We're going to tighten these again. We're going to use this socket, this torque stick on the mid-torque impact gun. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the socket moving ever so tiny. It doesn't stop in a definitive spot and stay there. It keeps going a little bit. You can see that this socket is continuing to move a little by little by little. So the question is, how do you know when to stop? How do you know when it's tight? I don't know. Let's check it out right now and see where we're at torque-wise. I'm going to leave this thing back on 100 foot-pounds. So just to show you, we are at 100 foot-pounds. Okay, let's try this. I saw the socket move just a little bit right there. And the socket didn't move at all right there. Now that's after I kept on going when I was torquing this thing on. And these results, I'm going to show you these results are going to change because we're going to redo this test. We're going to redo this test using that same mid-torque impact gun. This time, I'm going to use this deep socket. You can see that again, it just keeps on going. It just kept on going there. Usually when you use these, when you feel them stop and they kind of stop at what the calibrated torque is, you're supposed to stop torquing. You're not supposed to continue on torquing as long as I have been when you've seen me using this particular gun. I'm going to stop this one right here because that's right when it stopped moving. Yet as I continued to go a couple of, or half a second longer, you saw that it wanted to tighten it more and more and more. Let's see what the torques are on these particular sockets. This time I'm going to bump this down to 90 because I want to get a baseline, see where we're at, see if we're at least 90. So we're at 90 there, 90 there, and of course I just tightened them a little bit when I did that, didn't I? Let's tighten back on again. My goal with this one was to keep going until I basically saw the socket stopping and not going any further. This one, I'm going to go until I just see it stopping. You know, I couldn't even tell when I was supposed to stop right there because hopefully you guys could see the socket just kept on moving and I saw and felt no definitive stop. It's kind of interesting. Let's bump this up to 100 foot-pounds. I want to see where it's at. So this is the one where we tightened it and kept on going. That one's definitely already at 100. That one I felt the socket move ever so slightly. So since this one's at 100, I'm just going to keep on going on this torque wrench. We're at 110 now. I just want to see where we are. It's definitely 110. Keep on going. Still, it's definitely 120. 130. It moved a little bit at 130. So that was basically at 120 foot-pounds. That was way different using this long socket. And that's basically what I was seeing when I was doing my first test. Actually, I'll be honest, when I was doing my test and confirming these results a couple days ago, I was only using this deep socket, and what I was seeing was the mid-torque was tightening all these lug nuts way too tight. In some cases, I was getting up to 150 foot-pounds for some of these lug nuts when I was using the mid-torque. Only today did I even bother to grab this standard socket, and now I'm seeing with this standard socket, I'm getting a little bit better results, but I still see that it tightens it in some cases a little bit more than in other cases. It depends on how long you keep on going. Why is this? I don't even really know. It's very strange, but I realize now the results that the mechanic was getting is all because he was using the mid-torque. I don't believe that the mid-torque is intended to be used with these torque sticks. I don't believe these torque sticks are calibrated correctly for it, or any torque sticks will be. I don't know exactly what this is, and I don't know why we would be getting different results depending on using this socket or that socket. It must have something to do with the masses involved, or maybe there's some kind of sympathetic vibration that gets set up that just throws the calibration all out of whack. All I know is that you can't trust torque sticks on the mid-torque impact gun. They weren't designed to be used together, is what I'm realizing. If you want to use torque sticks, you're going to have to use the high torque impact gun, which is designed to be a replacement or to be a competitor for a 1/2-inch pneumatic gun. So these are the only two options that I would use when using torque sticks. So I can already hear the keyboard mafia now, but you didn't calibrate your torque wrench, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do that. I agree with you. I understand this was not a perfectly scientific test. I would argue, though, that I used real-world tools in a real-world situation. I mean, nobody has a calibrated torque wrench. Nobody is sending their torque wrenches out to be scientifically calibrated on a $10,000 calibration rig. Nobody does that. You buy a torque wrench in the store and you use it to, I don't know, tighten on wheel lug nuts and do other things. So I would argue that I'm comparing what these torque sticks do to when they torque something with what my torque wrench is doing when it torques something. And do they get relatively within the ballpark? Number two, I think we've learned that the mid-torque impact gun is not designed to be used with torque sticks, and you can't trust it for doing that. I don't know exactly what's going on there and why the different length sockets were getting different results, wildly different results. That was pretty interesting. Maybe one of you guys who knows way more than me, maybe we have an engineer in the audience who will comment and tell us what he thinks is going on there. That would be really interesting to me. Number three, I think we've learned that you have to test out your torque sticks using your torque wrenches. Make sure that they are getting somewhat accurate results for you. Make sure that they're getting repeatable results for you. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I never expected a torque stick to torque on a lug nut to exactly 90 foot-pounds, let's say. I always knew it was going to be within some kind of a range, 90 to 95. That's fine with me. I know I'm getting repeatable results where my 90-pound torque stick is tightening a lug nut to less than 100 foot-pounds and definitely more than 90. That's all I care about, as long as it's, as long as you've got equal torque all the way around and you've got it within, a certain error rate. That's all you need. I'm happy. I know that I can torque lug nuts on with those torque sticks, send the car out, and not have to worry about lug nuts falling off and possibly killing my customer. And that's all I really care about, or myself. Anyway, if you thought the video was interesting, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I am the 50s Kid. Thanks a lot for watching.